The following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
Thank you, Tally Olson. We are back. Bronx Roots, Michael Preminger and David Hubler. How are you guys?
Fine, I guess. Yeah.
Good. We're pre-Thanksgiving, a few days before Thanksgiving.
Yes.
I'm going to run this show on Thanksgiving. It's become a tradition that we have a show showing thanks for what we have. This is a world that's a lot of negativity going on, so let's keep this to a positive note.
Yes, please.
Thanksgiving has always been my favorite holiday, and we always spent it as a kid in the Bronx with my grandparents on Valentine Avenue.
You know,
really?
we did too. I mean, not because I lived in the Bronx.
Ironically.
But,
you knew
no, my uncles, aunt and uncle and kids would come up from Maryland every year. So we did have a large contingent in the house, and it was the best time. It was best holiday for me, and it still is because just about every job I've had, we'll get the day off after this Black Friday thing. They get the day off Friday too.
So it's always a 4-day weekend there.
Yeah, it's a nice, and there's no traffic around here for the first time for the year. It sort of clears out. DC.
Yeah, and it's a holiday that's non-denominational.
That's right. Although it didn't start out that way, if you think about it. Yeah, I mean, there was a group of religious people that came across in that boat in the Mayflower.
Yeah.
By the way, I noticed yesterday they had that classic Spencer Tracy movie on about the Mayflower. He was the captain of the Mayflower in the movie, and I just think nobody remembers it. It was such a I mean, Spencer Tracy is this captain, and what's really funny about it, I forget who she was. She's a very pretty actress. They have this sort of one-time kind of affair on the boat. She's married to somebody else, and they're heading supposedly to Virginia, heading in my direction, and they have this sort of very brief affair, which of course you don't see in the film. But I've seen this movie a couple of times, and I always wonder, where did they find any privacy? That boat was tiny, and there were people all over the place, and they were supposed to be pilgrims or Puritans, and you wouldn't think they would do such things.
Well, I think they told everybody to turn around.
Oh, maybe. You could be right. Yeah.
Give us 5 minutes, just face north or something. That's a good question. Where did? It's a good question.
Especially since the first baby born in America was this baby called Virginia Dare, and I mean, they were out to sea for a long time. So I don't know. That could have been could have been Spencer Tracy's kid for all I know.
In real life.
Yeah, who knows? But
those are the little things that make me so happy.
Yes, and I'm thankful for.
Like that. I swear.
Michael, what are your Thanksgiving memories? Do you have any?
Well, first I'd like to mention that you guys probably know this, and I was watching. Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore. Remember that movie?
Great movie.
Well, in that movie, Chris Christopherson mentions something that I used to mention when I was doing the traffic school. So, of course, it had nothing to do with traffic.
Right.
On Thanksgiving, not just on turkeys, especially young turkeys, when it rains, look up. And the water goes into their mouth and they drown. Now, I'm not making that up because as I'm watching Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore, Chris Christopherson says that very story to Alice, and I went, yay! I wasn't crazy.
Right.
So hopefully, when you eat turkey, it was one that didn't drown itself, because it's very sad when you think about it.
It is.
Baby turkeys they're not very bright.
No, but that confirms the story. That's a second source. Journalists always need a second source to confirm something. Well, you and Chris Christopherson say the same thing.
That's right.
So it must be true.
It must be true. It's true. We
now,
used to go out to my Uncle Leo on Long Island. We would, and I don't remember when that started. Well, it certainly didn't start before he moved to Long Island, because then we just would have been sitting on the highway, and that would have been silly. So we waited till he moved, and then the family would go out there, and my aunt, Ada, she would do all the cooking. Those were the days, I guess, when whoever house you went to, they did the cooking. Today, everybody has to bring something.
Right.
Not everybody. I shouldn't say that. But, that's what it seems like.
What's that old thing where you don't go to somebody's house empty-handed?
Right.
So I used to bring my baseball glove. Somebody might want to have a catch.
There you go. That's beautiful.
That's great. One hand is empty, but you need that for throwing.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, sure.
No, but we had wonderful Thanksgivings. Getting back to somewhere near the truth, we had wonderful Thanksgiving. The same aunt and uncle and the kids. When my aunt and uncle later on, after he retired, they moved to the area around Ocean City, Maryland, and they were on the Delaware side. It's actually the Mason-Dixon line, to be from the historical point. But anyway, we had my cousins come down from Westchester, and we all had this wonderful time together on the boardwalk in Ocean City, and eating turkey, and then on Friday going over to the next town. I forget what the name of the town is. Rehoboth, I think. Rehoboth, where all the shops were open for sort of. This was really the early years of Black Friday. So we did some shopping over there, and in Delaware they have no tax on stuff. So that was good too. And then we drove home, and the best part, was being there, because it was on the eastern shore of Maryland. You had to go across that horrible Chesapeake Bay Bridge. Yeah. So anyway, no, I've talked to people even now who say, I hate to go across that bridge. It's worse. Some people don't even like the old Tappan Zee Bridge across the Hudson. But I never had a problem with that one. But this one, you come to the toll plaza and you look, going eastward, and you look and you just see this mountain of road that rises up in front of you, and it gets higher and higher and higher, and you're way above the water. And there have been a few accidents where a couple of trucks and stuff have plunged into the bay. And
I hate when that happens.
I do too. Fortunately, I've never been on a truck going across the bridge, so I think I'm safe.
We used to call that oopsie.
Oh,
that's an oopsie, all right.
Yeah. In fact, I wasn't the only one who dreaded that bridge, because for many years, Thanksgiving or not, you could pull over to the side after you paid the toll, of course, and they had people there who would drive your car over, with you in it, of course, drive the car over to the other side, because there were a number of people who just couldn't handle that bridge.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that was then. Imagine how scary it is now when there's no money having been put into infrastructure infrastructure in this country for years.
Well, they built the first. It's interesting that the bridge across there was originally a 2-lane bridge. Now, can you imagine 2 lane, one in each direction, and you have to pass all these oncoming cars, and then they built just terrible. And then they widened it a bit, and now they built a second bridge, which was much wider. I think it had 3 lanes or something. And now they're talking about another bridge further. Anyway, I don't know how I.
Michael, in traffic school, that's another subject you didn't cover. How to drive on the bridge.
No, never did cover that, as a matter. Oh, that's interesting.
Right.
You're right. I never even said we'll cross that bridge. I wanted to go there. Okay. But
we'll burn that bridge
did.
when we get to it. In my life, that's how I look at things.
I mean, there are no bridges out here.
Yeah.
Well, you got the Bay Bridge.
Oh,
well, up in
he's
north,
talking about Southern
LA,
California.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, right. Yeah, no, that's true.
We have to go back now and talk about bridges.
Well, Lloyd is dead.
Lloyd Bridges
He's dead. He actually, I tell you, that's one of his. He's in that movie. He's also crossing in the Mayflower. Lloyd Bridges was in it. Yes, and
Lloyd Bridges.
He made the crossing.
Lost the great rebounder with the St. Louis Hawks,
yes.
Billy Bridges.
Oh, and
Bridge. Oh my!
And Van Johnson. Van Johnson was on the boat too, on the Mayflower.
Okay.
Oh wow!
And then there was Emlyn Tunnel. If you didn't want to take the bridge,
that's going back.
Ooh, but Tunnel.
Oh yeah.
Very good, Ralph. You get it.
Yeah.
I loved Emlyn Tunnel. Those were the good old giants.
Yeah.
Right. Emlyn Tunnel played back with Rosie Greer and Rosie
That's right.
Brown.
Frank Gifford
and Kid
Huff
David.
And Sam Huff before he deserted. Yeah, before.
And Robustelli as well.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
That's right. Did you guys sit? After Thanksgiving dinner, a lot of people sit down and they watch a football game. Did you do that?
Detroit Lions.
Yeah, the Detroit Lions every year. Yeah, Frank Lane was the quarterback, right? For 100 years.
Yes.
Bobby Lane.
Bobby Lane. Oh, okay. One Lane. Yeah, well.
Somebody Lane.
One Lane.
And then Milt Plum came after Bobby Lane.
Oh. But I never watched. I mean, I had no interest in the Detroit Lions, and every year they were on.
No, neither did I. But the one thing I left out at my uncle's house, either my uncle or my other uncle would lie down on the and they had a den, and he would lie down on the floor, and the next thing you know, fast asleep. One of them would I guess they say, what is it, tryptophan or something, get you sleepy?
Yeah, there's something in the turkey. There's something they've found. They've proven it. There's some sort of chemical that makes you sleepy.
Yeah. Well, my uncle would, so everybody would just walk around him for like an hour or two.
You fell asleep on the floor?
Yeah.
Oh.
I know. Now that I think about it, I don't understand, but who am I?
Well, it must have been carpeted and somebody threw him a pillow.
Oh, yeah, I guess so. But he was just gone.
Well, I'll tell you, I have a Thanksgiving Day memory of my grandmother who didn't know the exact date of her birth, but knew it was around the end of November. And she celebrated her birthday on Thanksgiving.
Oh,
she said.
Thanksgiving.
Where was she from?
She was from Russia and came over with my grandfather during the pogroms. Well, they might have met here, but she disdained having to move and having to be thrown out of her country. And she never got over that. She was bitchy and complaining.
Really? Well, she didn't come over on the Mayflower, though, because they complained a lot, too. What happened to my cabin? I was told I had a cabin. No, you got to stay.
There were very few of us in our tribe that came over on the Mayflower. I wonder if there were. I wonder if there was some, and if there were Jews on the Mayflower.
No.
You don't think so? Not one.
No, I think they waited for the next boat. They waited for the next boat because there was more room.
It's full on this boat.
It's full.
Next one.
Yeah, I'm not in no hurry.
Oh, that's
I've been here
wonderful.
a long time. It doesn't matter. When we get there's going to be Indians. Then you'll call them Native Americans. That is another story. You don't want to insult anybody.
Yeah, let them go first. See what if they like it. They'll send back postcards.
Send a telegram back.
No, postcards. They like picture postcards. You get picture postcards.
A postal card.
A postal card. Oh, that's great. That's so funny. Yeah, oh, boy.
All right, so let's go around the room. I'm going to start with you, Michael. In a serious note, some things to be thankful for.
Oh.
For you.
Well, my family.
Yeah.
And that's the big thing right now. I can't, I don't know what else. What else? Friends. I mean, these are all cliche, but that's right now. It's not like I'm thankful for, I don't know. That's it. I don't have a lot of things. Or health.
Well,
health.
You got family and friends and health. That's
family, friends, and health. And also shredded wheat.
Wonderful.
I like shredded wheat in the morning.
Okay.
Oh,
well,
I like shredded wheat in the morning, and with some milk, and maybe a few Cheerios.
Oh, that's my favorite, Cheerios.
I'm very grateful to the imaginary woman that I'm going out with. She's very sweet. She lets me wear my bathrobe when it's cold. I look like an old guy then, but she's okay. She's really nice. She loves to dance.
Oh.
She loves to dance. We dance to the girl from Ipanema. Which is not far from where she's from.
Oh.
She's from Buffalo.
That's not far.
That's not far.
It's right on the lake, isn't it?
That's an idea for a book, My Love Affair with My Imaginary Friend or something like that.
Oh, didn't I ever tell you I had an imaginary girlfriend last year, but she left me.
Well, you just imagine she left you.
Yeah, look around.
She might be under the couch.
That's right. Look around.
Be here.
She might be lying on the floor with your uncle.
See how things come around. I know.
Yeah.
It's hard to vacuum under the bed. Maybe she's there.
Or somebody.
It's hard to be there. Somebody's there.
Yeah.
All right. David, something to be thankful for. Thanksgiving.
Well, of course, the whole business.
Same old stuff, of course.
Yeah, the same old stuff. Let's see. What else am I thankful for? Oh, I'm erect. I mean, not in the sexual sense. I mean, standing up.
I said, wow. I thought to myself, wow.
Go ahead.
I like to keep it clean. That I'm healthy enough to be on my own 2 feet, and that's what I meant.
Yes.
I don't know how long this is going to last, however, but for the time being, it's good.
Right. None of us do. That's the adventure of it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
One of my favorite actors just died.
Who's?
Did he play Mel?
No, Mr. Pollard. Michael J.
Pollard, yeah.
And the funny thing about him, I loved him in Bonnie and Clyde, and I thought he disappeared after that but yet when you read like IMDb or one of those places, or the obits that have been published, I mean he did a lot of stuff. And you know what's good, Michael? You'd appreciate this. He never learned to drive. Did you know that?
Really?
Yeah, he never learned to drive. Yeah, in fact, this is one of the obits I was reading. They tried to teach him to drive, and he really wrecked the car.
No.
So, yeah, I mean, he's not the first.
Bonnie and Clyde, and did it say? Because I haven't read the obit that I'm thinking he was in Bye Bye Birdie.
Yes, he was. You're right.
On Broadway.
Yes, he was.
Oh,
yes,
wow.
You're right. Absolutely.
Great memory.
Yeah.
That's where I remember, because he really didn't. He was such a unique character.
Right.
That it was hard. I'm
thankful for him. I'm thankful for him.
Did Paul Lynde play the role on Broadway that he did in the movie?
The father, I think so.
No, I don't know. I don't know that.
When he sings, "What's the matter with kids today?"
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly that. Why can't they be like we were? Perfect in every way.
In every way.
Mm-hmm.
That's
true. That's very true. I didn't realize. He was married to Beth Howland, the actress who played the mousy waitress. And
on Alice.
On Alice, yeah. And
wow.
Yeah. And you never know.
Paul Lynde was
No, Michael J.
Oh.
Michael.
the guy the fellow who passed. Yes.
Yes.
That makes more sense.
What's his name? What's his name?
Talk about a beard.
He only died 2 days ago, so we've already forgotten this.
Yes,
Michael
yes.
Pollard. Who I don't think was related to the silent film comedian Snuffy Pollard.
Oh boy, what a memory! Oh, that would be amazing.
Yeah, it would. But you never
amazing,
know.
But you never know.
Yeah, that's right.
They probably would have mentioned it in his obit.
They might have.
The fact that you remember the guy from the silent movies, that's pretty good.
Yeah, they used to be silent movies in the early days of TV.
Snuffy?
What's that?
Was it Snub or Snuffy?
I think you're right. I think it was Snub. I think you're absolutely right. And he had that mustache, and he twitted his face,
Yes.
Yeah.
Good old Snub.
Yeah, my grandparents were born in this country, but my great-grandparents, one of whom was blind, and he lived in Poland. Not because he wanted to, but the rents were cheap. He lived in Poland, and he was blind, and he got this job, the only job he ever had, but he quickly got fired. He was a film critic for the Polish newspaper.
Oh,
and,
wow.
Yeah, and...
now that's fascinating.
I think that was tongue-in-cheek, was it not? Film critic for the Polish newspaper.
Why do you think that?
I just had a hunch.
Do you always make fun of the blind people? He was blind.
I make fun of the blind film critics occasionally.
Yes, well, they fired him when they found out.
Wait a minute now.
He kept writing about how great the music was, the score of this film, and they kept what about the plot? What about? He said, well, the plot wasn't very interesting, but the music was great. And they finally
blind Polish film critic.
Yes, yes.
Here's a movie for you. Holy mackerel.
And I'm grateful
for him
too.
The movie, The Irishman.
Oh yeah, I'd like to see that.
I did see it, and I'm not giving anything away. Obviously, it's about an Irishman, but at the beginning of the movie, the opening music is in the Still of the Night by the Five Satins.
Really?
Great song.
That's a great song. Yeah.
And I said, I'm going to like this movie. And I actually asked the person next to me if they wanted to dance, but he said no. But it was, I was so happy.
Did you like it? Because I heard the reviews weren't all that great.
It was. I didn't love it. I will admit. I will tell you that. I didn't. The more I think about it, I thought the acting was wonderful. As it.
Well, yeah, sure.
And with those guys, but no, I did not love it. No. I wouldn't say, you got to go see it. Also, it's 3.5 hours.
That was one of the things, yes, that was mentioned, that it was way too long.
Did they have an intermission on a 3.5-hour movie now?
Well, they should, don't you think? You remember
I would think.
Ago,
yeah.
Intermissions.
I remember Broadway had intermissions regularly.
Yeah.
But some movies, I think Lawrence of Arabia.
Yes, it did.
And there were certain movies.
Gone with the Wind.
Gone with the Wind, yes.
And Lawrence of Arabia. I distinctly remember the break in Lawrence of Arabia. Yeah.
Well, you can understand. I mean, the actors got tired.
And they're on the desert. They've got to get something to drink.
Well, that's why we got to have an oasis.
But I tell you, I read this. This was a true story about David Lean making Lawrence of Arabia. There's one scene there where they're coming in the desert, and it's pristine, and it was all these troops were coming. I forget which was the Turks or whatever, but they had to do it in one take because they couldn't clean up they couldn't get the hoof prints off if they had to do it a second time. You see,
wow.
They all coming across the sand, so the whole thing had to be shot in one take to make sure that the sand was undisturbed. And I thought that was
groundkeepers.
No ground, no, and you didn't have any rakes like they do on golf courses. You know what I mean?
And they didn't have the technology to edit in.
What do they call that? Yeah,
the sand.
The sand was there. They didn't have to edit the sand. The sand was there.
Yeah. But I mean the condition of the sand.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. What is that stuff called? The stuff they use now, where they don't even have to use actors. They can get a cast of thousands of little computer characters. The way they do it now.
Computer characters are very short people.
Yes, they are. And they're totally indistinguishable. You can't tell one from the other. They look like little ants coming around. They did that in a Game of Thrones. There was a lot of that. Like, I don't believe she was riding a dragon at all.
I do agree with you there. I don't think so.
No.
I know some people who do.
Ride dragons? And they even had a disclaimer then that no dragons were injured in the making of this film.
And the dragons' names have been changed to protect their innocence as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but she was really cute, that little, whatever her name was, Khaleesi or something.
Blonde, yeah, she was.
Yeah. She's not even a blonde, really. I've seen pictures of her. She's a brunette, yeah.
Oh, I meant the dragon was blonde.
Oh, the dragon, yes. That was hard. Yeah. That was the same dragon who was in, what's that, the movie about those creatures that lived in the trees and stuff. You remember? It was a big hit. It had a lot of computer graphics. It was made by the same guy that did Titanic. You know, I can't think of the name of the movie. Cameron, yeah. This was these creatures that lived up in the trees, and they ran around and swung like Tarzan and things.
Hey, Michael, this is kind of a personal question, and it's not a right or wrong. Did you have imaginary dragons in your life as well?
Good question.
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
But thanks for asking.
I took a shot.
Yeah, no, I understand. It's perfectly okay.
Okay, as long as you understand it. And if you did and you can't, and if you're feeling you can't put it on a podcast that you had imaginary, we're all friends.
No, yeah.
No, I feel very comfortable.
You don't have to unleash anything in your dotage or anything.
I have few things to hide.
Okay,
unfortunately, I wish I had.
Yeah. Wish life could have been a little more interesting. Wish I could have had some secrets, some deep dark.
Yeah.
Right. That would be nice. Yeah, that would be nice.
Something to tell your relatives on your deathbed. Do you remember World War II? I was a hero.
Well, I could talk about my blind great-grandfather from Poland.
All right. Well,
the
turns out he might, in today's day, he may have been very nearsighted, is all.
No.
Okay.
What about him, David?
Well, he was blind from a little kid on, and in fact, he didn't even know he was in Poland. That's how blind he was.
He thought he was in Hawaii.
Well, he thought they just talked funny. He had trouble understanding what they were saying, and of course he couldn't read the Polish newspapers, even though he wrote for them. So he was in a pickle. He had problems. He had real problems. Yes.
Yeah, I love he didn't even know he was in Poland. It's hysterical.
Yeah, well, it helped. It helped in his case because he was Jewish. But
he had a job.
He had a job, right? It didn't last too long, but you know.
And think back when we were growing up, how important it was in people's minds. He has a job. You know, when you're growing up, what do? You have a job. That was a big part of our life. Now, unemployment is down. Everybody has a job. But there was a time when having a job was a commodity.
Well, coming out of World War II, there was a lot of people, women especially, found jobs in World War II, and the economy, you know. But after the war, they didn't have as much opportunity as they did later on. There are all sorts of different aspects of this. I don't know. My father worked on Wall Street his whole life. And made him very, very wary of buying stocks because he actually was with he was with Merrill Lynch in '29 when the market crashed, and he told me he did see a couple of guys take headers out the window, or
defenestra,
right? Or defenestra. I love that word. It means to throw yourself out of a window. It's a great word. There must be a Yiddish word. Defenestra. The fenestra is the window. It's French. So it's out the window.
Never heard that before.
Yeah. I love that word because it's so evocative of what it means. You throw yourself out the window, and it sounds very important, but it's not actually. Because, by after you die.
The financial bankruptcy meant really going down the tubes.
Oh yeah.
No government programs, like pre-Social Security.
Right. And yet there are people today, and it's hard to believe, but yet there are people today who, very old people for the most part, but hate FDR, hated Roosevelt for bringing in these socialist programs. People should, live on their own.
My grandfather lived on Social Security in his waning years, and hated it too. He hated Roosevelt. He loved Hoover, and he's getting money, which would have been because he went through the Depression and lost everything. I mean, that's starvation money, and still hated it. He was collecting the money and still hated the idea.
Yeah, but you know why? And this is a little serious note. A lot of the people who hated Roosevelt, and even today you'll hear people say this. Well, it's my money. I contributed it to Social Security, so I deserve to get it back. And in a sense, they do have that. They're correct in that respect. But I for anybody from middle class, lower middle class, who hated Roosevelt, that's hard to believe. Especially in the New York area. Where he and the family were so prominent for so many years. And
I don't know what to tell you. I had a grandfather who was Republican, and I loved him anyway.
Yeah, well, my parents were Republicans. They loved Eisenhower. They loved Eisenhower.
I can remember getting the "I like Ike" buttons from my grandfather.
Yes, yeah. I think I still have a couple. Somewhere.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
My father was a Democrat, my mother was a Republican, and the differences were so minute that they used to kind of laugh about it on election night. What would be the difference between an Adlai Stevenson and an Eisenhower? I mean,
they were both bald, for one.
They were both bald, but ideologically, they're pretty close.
Yes.
And now we're so polarized that it's crazy making.
Well, I got to go make turkey now.
All right. Well, let's just say our Thanksgiving.
I got to catch one first.
Thank God it's not worse.
Yeah. We shall see.
So far.
So far. All right, stick around, kids.
I had made a list of things to be thankful for. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I did this a few years ago. But there was nothing, general things. But one was we should be thankful that John Philip Sousa's last name was not Kvaldenkleben. Because if it had been, members of college marching bands would still be playing the Kvaldenkleben phone. Now, isn't that interesting? I think so. Anyway.
Maybe, yeah. He could have changed his name.
Yes.
That's right.
Good show, guys.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah,
you have a blessed year.
And
that was
fun.
Yeah.
It was fun. It always is.
Okay.
Nice kibitzing with you guys, and thank you for listening, everybody. This is a great insight into the mind of Bronxites.
Right. Who
Yes,
didn't come over on the Mayflower?
No.
For sure.
Weren't invited.
No.
All right.
So
love you guys. Be well.
Speak to you
Thanks
soon.
again for listening, everybody. Comfortably Zoned Radio Network. Michael Preminger, David Hubler. I'm Ralph Tycho, the weak link of it all. Adios.
Adios.
The proceeding has been a Comfortably Zoned Network production. You are advised to keep your dreams wet, your humor dry, your children and grandchildren out of military recruiting offices and off the laps of clerics who wear dresses. Thank you for listening, everyone. Happy trails.